At the deepest, most primal level of male attraction, what truly ignites desire and commands long-term devotion is the constellation of virtues wrapped up in the single word, purity. Some of these virtues are chastity, sexual inexperience, demureness, innocence, untouched femininity, unwavering loyalty, curiosity, and a kind of gentle naivety that signals she has never been claimed, never been broken in by the world or by other men. This isn't a shallow preference or a cultural relic. It is an ancient biological compass needle pointing toward the woman whose pair-bonding machinery is still pristine, whose oxytocin receptors haven't been dulled by repeated cycles of attachment and detachment, whose emotional canvas is blank enough for him to paint a shared future without ghostly outlines of previous lovers lingering in the background. A man's gut-level fantasy is often the 18-19-year-old barista with zero sexual history, no passport stamps, no Instagram followers, no independent income, no world weariness. He would much rather be with someone soft, unspoiled, eager to follow his lead and build everything from scratch together, than a 28-year-old corporate high flyer with a six-figure salary, frequent flyer status, a trail of accomplished exes, and a past full of other men. To him, her resume of conquests, independence, and past intimacies feels like pre-owned territory, a house already lived in by strangers, beautiful but no longer his to truly own. Women, by contrast, are wired almost as an inverse mirror image. They are drawn to the man who has already proven his value through conquest, competence, pre-selection by other women, accumulated resources, social dominance, and worldly experience. They are looking for the markers that signal that he can protect, provide, and prevail in a harsh world. Her attraction spikes when she sees he has been desired, tested, and victorious. His attraction spikes when he sees she has been desired but remained untouched. She wants the battle-hardened warrior who has won many fights. He wants the untouched garden that has never known another gardener. This fundamental polarity, her craving for proven strength and his craving for unclaimed softness, is not a bug in human nature. It is the operating system, and pretending otherwise only breeds frustration, mismatched expectations, and broken homes. Welcome to Prime Male Evolution, where we cut through the illusions of modern life to reveal the raw truths that empower you to reclaim control. Imagine for a moment a man in his 30s who slept with 30 women over the years. Society slaps him on the back, calls him experienced, a stud, the guy who knows what he's doing, the one women secretly find more intriguing because others have wanted him too. Pre-selection in action, turning his history into a badge of confidence and charisma. Now flip the script. Picture a woman with exactly the same number, 30 partners. Suddenly the labels shift. Easy, damaged, no self-respect, fine for a night, but never for life. Friends whisper, family looks away. High-value men she actually wants disqualify her before she even gets a real chance to show who she is today. The rules aren't equal, never have been, and pretending they are is quietly ruining lives on both sides, but especially hers. I'm not here to lecture about what's right or wrong. I'm here to lay out exactly how the world actually works when it comes to male versus female sexuality, so you can make decisions with your eyes wide open instead of getting blindsided by illusions. Let's start with the double standard everyone feels and knows, but few say out loud. When a man racks up an extensive sexual history, he's celebrated, experienced, confident, a conqueror. His buddies toast him. Women might even find him more desirable because that pre-selection signals value. Other women have vetted him, so he must be worth it. At work or in social circles, his past is irrelevant or even a plus, proof of charisma. When he decides to settle down, sure, a few women might hesitate, but plenty see it as seasoning he'll now bring to their relationship. No big deal. Now switch genders. The exact same history triggers a completely different reaction for a woman. She's judged harshly, not just by men, but often even more viciously by other women. She's labeled easy, low value, someone for fun, but not for commitment, never the one you take home to build a future with. Her past becomes a permanent filter that eliminates her from serious consideration, before she can prove herself. For a man deeply invested in a relationship, discovering his girlfriend or wife's extensive history of past intimacies can trigger a raw, instinctive wave of revulsion and heartbreak that cuts to the core. It can feel like stumbling upon a hidden betrayal that predates their story, yet poisons it forever. A primal echo of evolutionary wiring that screams violation of trust, exclusivity, and purity, turning what should be sacred shared moments into haunting visions of her vulnerability given freely to others. It leaves him grappling with a profound sense of loss and inadequacy that no amount of rational discussion can fully erase, as the emotional scar tissue builds walls where openness once thrived, often rendering the pair bond fractured beyond repair. High-value men with options scroll right past if they catch wind of a woman's promiscuous past. And the judgment doesn't stop at dating. It creeps into family dynamics, friendships, even professional whispers where it could quietly sabotage her. Meanwhile, her male counterpart gets high fives and stories over beers. This isn't opinion. It's observable reality in every culture, every era, and it hits hardest in the prime years when choices matter most. So why does this asymmetry exist? It's not random cruelty. It's rooted in cold, evolutionary logic that shaped societies for thousands of years. Back when paternity certainty was impossible without modern DNA tests, a man invested his entire life building resources, hunting, farming, trading, only to pass them to his own biological children. But he could never be 100% sure he was risking his life for and investing his time, effort, and resources into his own offspring unless he controlled female sexuality tightly. Women always know their kids are theirs. Men never did without strict oversight. So cultures built entire systems, religions, laws, norms, shame, to lock down access to women. Virginity became sacred, and promiscuity became a cardinal sin for her. Male promiscuity? Tolerated or even praised because it didn't threaten inheritance or lineage. This wasn't morality. It was practical social engineering to protect wealth transfer across generations. It worked so well that it embedded itself into instincts and norms that still linger today, long after contraceptives and DNA tests made the original problem practically obsolete. 60 years of sexual revolution can't erase 300,000 years of conditioning overnight. Society changes at glacial speed, and the psychological fallout remains. But here's where it gets uncomfortable. Even if the old reasons are gone, the consequences aren't symmetrical, and she pays far more heavily in ways that are measurable and brutal. First, the relational market value hit. High-value men, the ones she likely wants for marriage and family, routinely screen for sexual history. Not out of prudishness, but because data shows clear patterns. A woman who is a virgin at marriage has around a 5% divorce risk. With one prior partner, it jumps to 20%. Two partners, around 28%. 10 or more pushes it toward 45%, or even higher in some studies. According to data from a nationally representative survey by Healthy Marriage, women with 4 or more premarital partners, assuming no extramarital affairs at the time of measurement, have an infidelity rate of 21% in their current marriage. This is nearly double the rate for women with 4 or fewer lifetime partners. This trend persists even after accounting for factors like location, sexual values, interests, social networks, age, and region. Intelligent men know this instinctively, or from quiet observation, so they filter accordingly. She might insist her past doesn't matter, but while she argues, the man who could have been her ideal partner has already chosen someone with a cleaner slate. Her pool of quality options shrinks without her even noticing. At 20, she has endless choices. By 32, after years of exploration, the top men are locking down younger women with fewer miles, leaving her competing with women much younger than herself for the same pool of men. Second, the constant social judgment creates real psychological wear and tear. She lives under a microscope. Other women gossip, family feels shame, her friends support her publicly but judge her privately. That chronic fear of exposure, of someone discovering her partner count and rewriting how they see her, builds into anxiety, depression, lowered self-esteem, even a compulsion to lie or hide parts of herself. Every new relationship carries that shadow. Will he find out? Will it end things? A man with the same history doesn't carry this load. He can be open without fear of devastation. No shame, no whispers, no career impact, no social stigma. The asymmetry is stark. Her past becomes a hidden trauma that poisons future bonds. His is invisible or celebrated. Third, and this is the part biology won't let us ignore, repeated attachment cycles damage her pair bonding capacity more intensely. As we've discussed in prior videos, oxytocin, the bonding hormone that surges during sex and childbirth, hits women much harder than men, forging deeper emotional ties to partners. Each intense bond followed by a breakup tears at that system like overtraining a muscle. Eventual scarring makes future deep connections tougher. Neuroscience shows women's attachment wiring erodes faster with multiple short-term cycles. Men's ability to pair bond simply isn't affected with the same intensity. So while society judges her outwardly, her brain pays an internal price too, reaching her 30s feeling numb, unable to fall in love like before, wondering why intimacy feels hollow now. He might get bored with novelty addiction, but he doesn't face the same neurological downgrade in bonding potential. Fourth, the trap of endless comparison kills satisfaction. She's sampled the best bodies, the most romantic gestures, the highest status, the wildest intensity. Now, no single man measures up across every category. She mentally assembles an impossible ideal from fragments of exes, finding each new partner lacking in something. Men compare too, but society lets them settle without stigma. Women rarely get that grace after years of riding the infamous proverbial carousel. For the top 5% of men who are actually able to be promiscuous, the damage is quieter: emotional superficiality, addiction to conquest dopamine, difficulty valuing one woman as unique after treating many as interchangeable. He gets bored fast, craves novelty, and struggles with true vulnerability. But society doesn't punish him. Friends cheer, family shrugs, women still see him as a catch if he cleans up his act later. His price is internal emptiness. Hers is external disqualification plus irreversible internal erosion. That's the brutal evolutionary asymmetry. So what does this mean for you? You're not here to fix society. You're here to navigate it successfully. You have every right to hold standards on her past, not from judgment, but from data. History predicts stability in measurable ways. Don't let the past is the past guilt you into ignoring red flags. But you should also look in the mirror. If your history has left you numb to real connection, unable to be vulnerable or commit without boredom creeping in, then you've paid your own price, even if no one talks to you about it. The woman who protected her worth will often, but not always, want a man who did the same. Not perfection, but integrity. The world isn't fair on this. She faces steeper social, psychological, neurological, and relational costs for the same behavior. While he can play the field in his 20s and still land quality in his 30s, she risks closing doors she can't reopen. Both should aim for selective intimacy to preserve their value and depth, but the urgency is higher for her because the fallout is more visible, more permanent, more tied to her biochemistry, and more punishing. That's the raw truth, no sugarcoating. If this video just saved you years of chasing illusions or settling blindly, hit like, drop in the comments. Do you think this double standard will ever truly disappear in the next 20 years? Yes or no, and why in one sentence? Your take helps brothers see the full picture. Subscribe with notifications. We drop unfiltered reality every Thursday. You're not the villain for seeing the game clearly. You're the one playing to win. This is Prime Male Evolution. You're in your prime. Own it.